Hello everyone, welcome to sqadia.com. I am your educator, Dr. Lara Munir, and we are covering the hematology section of the internal medicine course. Today we are going to talk about the coagulation disorders. Previously we talked about the various types of anemias, the various malignancies, and now through a series of lectures we are going to discuss in detail the different types of coagulation disorders. The first disorder which we are going to talk about today is hemophilia. Now, before going into the further details, let's break down the word hemophilia. Hemophilia is a combination of two words, hemo and philia. Hemo stands for blood and philia generally means loving. So the word hemophilia generally means that love for blood or blood loving, or you can say that hemophilics are blood loving. And in medical terms, that basically means that they love to bleed. So the word definitely gives away a lot about the disease. Hemophilia is an X-linked recessive disorder. So by X-linked recessive, it will be more common in the boys as compared to the females. The females will be more carriers and they will give the X chromosome to their male child. And whenever a male child gets an X chromosome who has a hemophilic gene, he will become a hemophilia patient because the Y chromosome does not contain those genes. So hemophilia is an X-linked disorder. So it has a large prevalence among the boys. And it's fairly common, 1 out of around 5,000 live births, you can have hemophilia. What goes wrong in hemophilia is, this is just about an overview of what goes wrong on the hemophilia, and then we will discuss about the relevant details in the coming slides. As we all know about the coagulation cascade, let's just quickly go through it once. Whenever you have an injury, for example, you are being stabbed, and whenever a blood vessel is injured, then the blood moves out of the vessel. And then that basically activates the extracellular matrix, the thromboplastin and the other various factors in the extracellular matrix. That leads to certain types of changes in the blood vessel, which is bleeding, so that the blood vessel goes hemostasis and the blood loss can be stopped. The first of this is that there is a vasoconstriction initially, so that the blood flow to that area is generally slowed down or reduced. Afterwards, we have a platelet plug formation. The platelets come and they recruit further platelets. This is because the activated endothelium secretes certain structures that can activate the platelets, and the platelets come and they form a primary thrombus there. That is the primary hemostasis. The platelet plug is a weak plug and it can easily be washed away with the increased blood flow. So to make that platelet plug even stronger as to ensure a complete stoppage of the blood loss, there are various coagulation factors that are being produced by the liver, and then those coagulation factors are activated by various pathways, the intrinsic pathway and the extrinsic pathway. The intrinsic pathway is generally inside the blood vessels because of the high molecular weight kininogens and the other collagen factors which are being released by the endothelium. And the extrinsic pathway is basically stimulated by the extracellular matrix, which is out of the blood vessels. So both these pathways lead to activation of the coagulation cascade, and after a lot of steps which we are going to talk about when we are going to detail in the study in the pathogenesis of the hemophilia, a platelet plug is basically reinforced by a fibrin thrombin formation. One of those factors which are very important for the formation of the fibrin meshwork are the clotting factors 8 and the factors 9. And whenever there is any abnormality with the factor 8 or the factor 9, that leads to what is the disease hemophilia. So hemophilia is basically either the complete absence or ineffective factor 8 or factor 9. If factor 8 is the culprit, if factor 8 is deficient, if it is not working well, then we generally define it as hemophilia A, which is the most common one among the hemophilia. If there is a factor 9 deficiency, then we call it hemophilia B. It is also called Christmas disease because it is named after the first person who was diagnosed with hemophilia B. It's not because of the seasonal festivals, Christmas. And there is also one type of hemophilia called hemophilia C, which is because of the factor 11 deficiency, but it is very rare and it is an autosomal recessive disease. So for the matter of clinical importance, the two hemophilias which are important to discuss are the hemophilia A, factor 8 deficiency, which is X-linked recessive, and the factor 9 deficiency, the hemophilia B, which is also X-linked recessive. Now in the further coming slides, we're going to talk about the further details about the etiology, pathogenesis, how we do clinical features, How do we diagnose the disease, and what are the treatment options available for us to treat the hemophilia patients?